Namaste to all of you. It is very nice to talk about SriRam Sir, whom I know for a very long time. We are the students of the same teacher, Professor SriRam Krishna, who retired as the head department of English, Osmania University. SriRam Sir did his MPhil and PhD also under him, like I did. Long back, we used to teach together in the Vivekananda Institute of Languages, where Sir used to also teach English. He was very quiet at that time, and we did not know much about him, except that he would quietly come and teach and go away. Very often, we would have programs in Ramakrishna Mutt, and I remember that we used to assign some duties like judging a competition, etc., and he would willingly do all this. Later, when he was doing his MPhil and PhD, especially in the last stages, SriRam Krishna Sir told me that he said that you should look through it and do something, make some corrections or suggestions. In my usual style, I did it without knowing with whom we are associating. This went on for a long time because at that time SriRam Sir also moved to Nizamabad after he got the job in the government polytechnic. But it was in the year 1997, I remember that once more it was Professor SriRam Krishna who told me that there is a great power in him. We are all initiated from Ramakrishna Mutt, and therefore our Sir SriRam Krishna saw Sri Ramakrishna in him. He said that he has the same power as Sri Ramakrishna has. At this point, nobody knew much about him except a small group of friends with whom he used to be very close. And very often, he used to show them some aspects of nature which our eyes can never see. It has to be something which is intuited. Then there was the occasion when his book was published by Sterling. Earlier, Sterling publishers had published many of Professor SriRam Krishna's and my books. So he was approached to publish Sir's book also. And this was a collection of letters which he had written over a period of time. So many miracles, as we call it, but SriRam Sir would never call them a miracle. He would always say that nature itself is the greatest miracle. But on this occasion of the release of this book, there were n number of coincidental happenings. All of us were amazed. I have many personal recollections with Sir. At a time when you want something, he says that grace is need-based. So when God feels that you require grace, it comes to you. At all points, he says, may God bless you. Even now, if he sends a WhatsApp, that is the message he sends. He says, may God bless you. At any occasion, if I send him our pranams, our greetings, that is the blessing that comes from him. He sees God in everything around, and the amazing intellect which he has. Just by looking at a book, he can tell us what all is there, not only in that book, but in all associated literature. Recently, he was telling me that he went to Portland, and there he saw the biggest bookstore. He says it was so wonderful. Very often, he speaks about his travels, and from all his travels, you can make out that at every place he goes, he finds some connection, and that is a cosmic connection. I remember in his earliest travels, he used to usually bring some small thing. In those days, he used to often come to this house from where I'm speaking today, sit almost at the place I'm sitting, speak a lot. Recently he came. He said, I have a few minutes. And then he spent 2 hours speaking about everything under the sun. There's no limit. And he doesn't require people to have devotion for him only that he will speak to them. In fact, he speaks about so many wonderful things which we have never heard of. I treasure all what he has said, but that only changes the perception. I don't recollect or I don't have a written record of what all he says. But sometimes when in real trouble, in difficulty, in sorrow, we find that his words give support, his words give succor. We find that he is there when we require him. I was recently introduced to a couple of young girls who have never been close to Sir, who have never approached him possibly, because in a gathering today you can't go anywhere near SriRam Sir. But in your small group, I'm sure, when you meet him, he talks to everybody. He asks unknown people, how are you? Are you feeling well? Are you all right? Is there anything you need? This concern, this care, this unconditional love, as he himself mentions, is very rare in human relationships. What we find in him is that if you meet him, there is a sense of happiness. I'm so amazed at the name of this channel. When we meet Sir, that happiness pervades. For a day or two, you feel as though you are steeped in that happiness. All of you who are meeting him regularly are really happy. If we want to do anything, then we have to come and meet him. But again, he says, don't aspire. It is all need-based. When you need it, you will find that it has come to you. This is exactly what Sri Ramakrishna used to say. He used to say that God's grace is like a breeze. It keeps blowing. All you have to do is open the sail of your boat, and then the boat keeps sailing. Because in those days there were no steamboats, etc., which were so popular.